Hello everyone. I decided to start a YouTube channel to sort of showcase some of the low content, medium content books that I have been publishing on Amazon. I started to publish right around the time of COVID. I actually was looking into some self-publishing and came across this as an option, and since there was little to do at that point in time, I started to do it as sort of a little hobby. I thought it might be a good idea to just sort of show what I have available. We have coloring books, activity books, notebooks, mostly aimed for kids, but obviously I enjoy a good coloring page now and again, and so I do try to make them as something that I would also enjoy to color and to work on. This book here, Sweets and Treats, is actually 45 coloring pages, but it has a black background, so you can see that all the pages have black as the background, and the coloring obviously is in white. This serves two purposes. One, if you have small children, it helps them to kind of stay in the lines a little bit easier, and it's less likely to be noticeable if they go outside the lines. It's also kind of a way to make colors really pop and to be really bright on the page. As you can see, they're all single-sided. It's standard Amazon printing paper, which I found to be decent quality. I think different printers, they might have some discrepancies now and then, but overall, if you use markers, crayons, colored pencils, it all tends to work okay. The markers, if you want to be doubly safe, sometimes I will put a blank piece of paper between the back of one page and the next one, just to make sure that no color bleeds through, but since it is single-sided, you can do that really easily. This one is lots of different ice creams and desserts and fun things to make you hungry. It's pretty simple coloring. Obviously, I said I aim for children, but it should be, like I said, fun for adults. So what I'm going to do is color this page. I just printed this out on regular printer paper, just so it's a flat surface. So we're going to do some ASMR coloring here, and kind of just, I'm no expert colorer, I just do it for fun and relaxation, and I'll show you the finished product. And like I said, all these are available on Amazon as I continue to put out some videos showcasing what's available, but you can find the link or the address in my description. So let's get started. And these are all alcohol markers, not sponsored by anything, just ones I got off Amazon. I do tend to like these a lot. The only thing I notice is that the color on the cap is not usually very accurate as to what the actual marker is. So you can do something like this, where you give yourself a little cheat sheet and chart to show you what the actual colors will be if you're using them on paper. So let's start with our candy sticks. As you can see, I'm not being super careful. If I actually go over the lines a little bit, it's very difficult to see that against the black background, which is, like I said, kind of nice, especially if you have kids who struggle with that sort of thing. All of these markers do have a fine point on this end and a chisel point on this end. Some of them have like brush tips, which I think if I was more of a professional color, I would enjoy more highlighting and mixing and that sort of thing, but just for the kind of straightforward coloring that I do, I like the chisel and the fine point. I apologize for any street noise that you might hear in the background. Sometimes the windows don't do a very good job of keeping out the truck noises. So like I said, most of my coloring books are fairly easy coloring. There's nothing that's overly detailed or too small or intricate, and that's mostly because I find adult coloring, like the books that are highly detailed and lots of different lines, and you need really fine-tipped markers. I find those a little bit stressful, actually. I don't consider them to be super relaxing. I know some people love them, and that's great if that's what you like to work on. I would much rather just kind of color like I did when I was a kid, which is, you know, just bright colors and easy things, and go from there. Okay, so here's one of the markers that has a brush tip on it. So just a little bit more of the background. I had finished up some graduate school work, and I had a project that I was looking at self-publishing, and so I began to look on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and looking into YouTube to see what people had to say about self-publishing options, and came across, obviously, some of these low content, no content book publishing, which I think during COVID got extremely popular because people were stuck inside and didn't have a whole lot to do, which is not necessarily the reason I got into it. I actually have a niece and a nephew who I thought might enjoy some coloring books, and since I felt like it was something I could put together for them, so it was mostly started out as just being something that I did for them. And I made my first coloring book and kind of learned the process of how to do it and how to upload it. It's fairly straightforward, fairly simple in terms of the uploading. And wasn't really expecting anything much to come of it. I think a lot of my friends and family initially bought the first book, and it kind of was fun and I enjoyed it, so I kept going and kept trying different things, different notebooks. And the notebooks, you know, it's once you have the interior, the lined paper, and there's all sorts of websites out there now, like BookBolt and things, where you can even get your own downloads of these things. They're obviously not something that takes a lot of time and or talent, other than creating covers. That's what I enjoy doing, is creating covers for these different notebooks, especially ones for school kids. But as far as the coloring books go, it's a process, a learning curve, obviously, and you start out and you're not the best. And I go back and I look at some of my first books and I see a lot of things that I would change or do differently, and things that I've learned and different apps that I've come across that help you accomplish what you want to accomplish. So I think, obviously, anything that you do, you get better as you go. So that's my goal, is each book that I put out is to create one that was better than the last in some way. I don't leave anything up that I think is complete garbage. I would take it down if I really didn't think that it was worthwhile at all. Because I do tend to be fairly critical of what I'm doing. So, as you can see, the colors, these alcohol markers blend and color really smoothly. They kind of hide a lot of the marker lines. So if you're somebody who is bothered by like regular standard markers, I would highly recommend these. I just got, like I said, off Amazon. No particular brand that I would say is better than the other. I am really loving that I don't have to be really careful about the lines. Let's go back and do a little bit of shading. I'm not super good at this. I kind of just guess at where you're supposed to shade. I'm sure there you can hear some of the cars through the line. I do know with shading you're supposed to pick like a light source. Kind of keep while you're shading in that direction, but that's about all I know. Well, like I said, this was meant to be sort of just an introduction to YouTube and my brand, which is Lane Burke Publishing. And I will jump and show you the finished product. And we'll see you in the next video.